Fáilte Abhaile, my friends. Welcome back to Our Legends. In today's video we're going to look into the dark past of Tintern Abbey in County Wexford. But first I would like to say a huge thank you to all of you. As of recording I'm at 910 subscribers. The goal by the end of the year was to reach 1000 and it looks like we're well on course to achieving that. So thank you to all of you. And as always guys, if you liked the video, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below telling us where you were from, share it with your friends. It helps the channel grow even more and we really appreciate it. So without any more delays, let's dive into the dark past of Tintern Abbey. In the autumn of 1200, William Marshal, Earl of Pembroke, made his first voyage to Ireland as Lord of Leinster. His ship was caught in a fierce storm off the south coast of Ireland, and fearing all would be lost, he vowed that if he was delivered from shipwreck, he would found an abbey wherever he reached the safety of dry land. On reaching Bannow Bay, he granted 9,000 acres of land for the foundation of a Cistercian abbey dedicated to the Virgin Mary, which was colonised by monks from Tintern Abbey in Monmouthshire, Wales. This new abbey became known as Tintern Devota, or Tintern of the Vow. It went on to become the third richest Cistercian abbey in Ireland, after St Mary's in Dublin and Mellifont in County Louth. Following Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries, Tintern Abbey and its lands were leased firstly to James Crofts, and then granted to Sir Anthony Cocklough, a captain in Queen Elizabeth I's army, in consideration of his 28 years of unpaid service to the Crown. Cocklough was obliged to fortify the abbey within 3 years, and to maintain there were 3 English horsemen and 4 archers. The Cockloughs first converted the abbey tower into a fine fortified residence, where in 1579 they entertained guests, including the Lord Deputy Sir William Drury and the Lord Justice Sir William Pelham, as well as a large military force. Later they converted the nave of the church into a Georgian Gothic mansion. Legend relates that when Sir Anthony Cocklough took up residence at Tintern, he found a number of Cistercian monks still occupying the abbey. The monks were gruesomely put to death, but not before one of them had placed a curse of fire and water on Cocklough. The curse, which would result in unhappy lives and violent deaths for Sir Anthony's residents, certainly had some effect. 4 were killed in duels, 2 were hanged, 3 died in battle, 2 were killed in riding accidents, 1 killed by the explosion of a gun barrel, and another was murdered by his wife, who poisoned him with arsenic. In 1807, John Cocklough became the last person in Wexford to be killed in a duel. Following a dispute over an election campaign, he was challenged and shot dead by his political opponent, William Alcock of Wilton Castle. As duelling was still socially acceptable in the early 19th century, Alcock was acquitted of murder and allowed to take his seat in the House of Commons. The duel, however, weighed heavily on his mind. He suffered a nervous breakdown and was committed to a lunatic asylum, where he died in 1813. Another curse was invoked by Sir Caesar Cocklough in the latter part of the 17th century, when he demolished a nearby ring fort that was said to be frequented by the fairies. He had hired some men to do the digging, but apparently their pickaxes were broken by the stones in the fort, and then as they tried to take away the first load of soil in the cart, it sank in the surrounding bog, taking the horse with it. The men then refused to do more work, saying the fort was cursed by the fairies, and left Caesar to do the rest of the digging himself. Sir Caesar was a good friend of King William, to whom he sternly boasted that his Wexford hurlers were far better than those in England. The king then challenged him to bring a team of Wexford men to play a match against the famous hurlers in Cornwall. Sir Caesar first held a grand game at Tintern and selected the best players to take to the match in England. When facing their Cornish rivals, the Wexford men were provided with yellow sashes for their waists to distinguish them from the opposing team. Of course, they utterly demolished the Cornish side, and King William and his queen were heard to shout, "Well done, Yellow Bellies, fine fellows, Yellow Bellies." The name stuck and can still be heard shouted by excited fans at hurling matches today. Getting back to the fairy curse, Sir Caesar was engaged to the lovely heiress of Redmond Hall, which was later renamed Loftus Hall, which is also one of Ireland's most haunted places. If you'd like to see the video I made in that, there'll be a card in the top right, and I'll leave the link to the video in the description. She was responsible for keeping the light burning at the nearby Hook Head Lighthouse. On Sir Caesar's return journey back to Ireland after winning the hurling match, the enraged fairies lulled the good lady to sleep and blew out the lighthouse lamp. Colclough's ship was dashed against the rocks and his dead body cast on the shore. Another member of the Colclough family, also named Caesar, who lived at Tintern at the start of the 19th century, was taken as a prisoner of war in France. During his absence, Tintern was managed by his steward, James Kennedy, and it was during these years that a sum in the order of £80,000 disappeared from the Colclough family coffers. Now, even though no evidence could be found to indict him, Kennedy was suspected and eventually dismissed by Caesar's wife Jane. Now, local legend relates that the missing money was used to fund the Kennedy family's migration to America, where a descendant, you might have heard of him, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, became president in 1961. Now, if this was true, JFK never would have become president without the curse of the monks or the curse of the fairies, which is mad, really, when you think about it. Lucy Marie Biddulph Colclough was the last member of the Colclough family to occupy the abbey. She left in 1959, and a few years later it was taken into state care. Unfortunately, the remains of the Colclough residence were removed, returning the site to the appearance of other numerous ruined monasteries to be found all over Ireland. Locals have long reported that the abbey is haunted by the apparition of monks in procession walking through the grounds, with their chants in Latin heard emerging from the crumbling abbey walls. Whether these are the ghosts of the monks murdered by Sir Anthony Colclough when he first took up residence at Tintern, or some ethereal echo of those who had occupied the abbey for the centuries before him, remains unanswered. However, in the 1980s, archaeologists began to work on the site in a series of digs. Soon after the excavations began, many of the team reported strange feelings of an otherworldly presence. They went on to uncover more than 50 skeletons, many of which were found in shallow graves directly beneath the Colclough residence. Most likely, these are the skeletons of the monks that Sir Anthony Colclough brutally murdered when he first came to Tintern Abbey. And these are responsible for the apparitions and chants that can still be heard to this day. So that is the dark past of Tintern Abbey. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do like my videos and want to support the channel, why not buy me a coffee? The link is down below in the description. Help keep me going through all the late nights researching these videos. Anyway, this is Jay from Our Legends. Good night and good luck.